Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1 and I am bringing you my very first collaboration project with Strapper01. It's another Death Egg robot, but this one is made to look more like the video game rather than the comic book. In all truth, Strapper was trying to make a Death Egg robot of his own, largely based on my design, when he kind of had schedule conflicts and wasn't able to finish it. So he sent the half-completed robot over to me for finishing. He'd already basically finished the head, I just had to apply a fresh coat of paint. His robot's eyes are googly eyes, painted over black. It kind of makes a rattling noise when you move it. A problem that Strapper ran into was putting his hips onto the robot's torso. He had tried to hold it together with just glue, and that made an extremely fragile connection that basically fell apart as soon as I picked it up. So what I did was stick a piece of wood into the middle of the hips, which I then drilled holes into and stuck a couple of bolts through. Then I would drill a couple of holes through the base of the torso that he had completed, which, by the way, is the same kind of candy ball that I used, but he had altered the shape so that it had more of a flat back and bottom. Again, to emulate the comic book design a lot better. His hips are also different constructed from mine, where I used bionicle ball joints. He used a combination of some joints I'm not sure. I know the knees come from the Megamind robot from, that DreamWorks movie. And the large balls on the hips are Marvel Heroics balls. You have no idea how useful Heroics balls can be. And then when we move on to the torso itself, you can see that I drilled the two holes, and these would be stuck on with nuts, but the torso itself would need a little bit more work. The torso is another part that Strapper had basically completed himself. I'm still not sure how he managed to make those side panels stick out like that, because that looks really cool. It's similar to mine except for what I described before, and the neck joint of the Death Egg robot is actually the bottom half of the Pokeball, with the bottom cut out so that Dr. Robotnik would fit in there. He also sent me a little chair. The chair is held in with some carefully applied wood blocks and hot glue, and it gives the Robotnik figure a stable place to sit when you put him in. Basically keeps him from rattling around. So, with a quick paint job of the legs to make them look as good as they can, I could reattach the upper and lower torso, and it is extremely secure and will not fall off. On my robot, the rocket pack is made from scratch out of foam board and poster board. Strapper had sent me an actual toy part that was the right size and shape, and the old battery compartment could even make a little door. More on what the little door is for later. All you need to see now is that I made a little handle so that the door will be easy to open once, it's attached to the robot's back. And then I had to seal in the top of the rocket pack with a little bit of poster board, and then paint it all nice metallic silver, because that's the theme of this guy. He's all metallic-y, silvery. You can kind of call it a deluxe version of my robot. Okay, one of the cooler parts of Strapper's version of the Death Egg robot is how he made the arms. He sacrificed the proper elbow joint, which I had given mine, so that he could incorporate a launching arm gimmick. Here you see it with my paint job, but as you can see, he hadn't really accomplished much with the forearm besides wrapping a little bit of foam board around that little toy car base. So I just essentially decorate up the whole thing. I used pieces of poster board and craft foam to, flesh out all the detailing to make it look like how it does in the video game. The palm of the robot, for want of a better term, is round, where on my version it's rectangular, but it still has 3 pointy fingers arranged in a line rather than a circle, because this is the Sonic 2 version of the robot, not the Sonic Generations version of the robot. And those are made by putting a wooden dowel on a pencil sharpener. They actually are quite sharp, and you want to be careful with this guy once you start to launch things. And so with that, the Death Egg robot is complete. As you can see, he has much bigger, stockier legs than mine does. I failed to mention this, but where I cannibalized an existing toy to make the legs, the Mars robot, he actually made his robot's legs from scratch, making them significantly more accurate, but also a little bit too light for my tastes. The little ratchet joint that he used in the knee has a little bit of wiggle room, so the robot just doesn't stand quite as stable as mine does. It still looks awesome. So let's cut to some live video so I can show you more in depth what this robot is like. So here is the Death Egg robot, the version that is more accurate to the video game. As I said, this is a collaborative effort between me and Andrew Strappers. He made much bigger legs, although his hips aren't quite as tight as mine, and the leg only has forward and back movement. Still, you can kind of put him in a walking pose, or he's getting ready to stomp. Stomp. It's probably better to just say it's like this. Arm is on a ball joint at the shoulder. And he has a swivel at the elbow. Allows him to do that. And of course, the thing that he gives up a proper elbow for, firing arm. Of course, these are wood, definitely not child-friendly. Aim away from living things, unless you want to put 3 holes in them. Let's see, what else can I say about him? Well, oh yes, besides the launching arms, he has one more thing. Just reach in here, grab by the handle, and pull this door open. And little egg bomb. And the antenna has busted. I can fix that as soon as I figure out where the thing went. There it is. It's inside. It's the leg bomb guy dude thing. He's a little guy. He even has a point of articulation, thanks to the heroics ball. He has a waist joint. Yeah. And yeah, the little egg bomb. I made this guy as a bonus after looking at that sprite sheet that Strapper sent me. It's just a Marvel Heroics ball. Face details, antenna, and the little feetsies are made out of craft foam. And it stands next to the Death Egg robot in the appropriate scale. I just like that it fits in that little jetpack. That's a complete coincidence, but it worked out. And, okay, let's cut back to live video to compare what his robot looks like next to my robot. So here's a side-by-side comparison of my Death Egg robot with the Andrew Wakeangel collaboration Death Egg robot. And as you can see, there are some clear differences, although it's not like one is correct and one is incorrect. Like I said before, my robot seeks to emulate the design from the comic book version as depicted in Sonic the Hedgehog issue 229 or 230, one of those, and I picked the worst possible time to futz with the lighting. And his is made to much more accurately represent the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2, the final boss. And then there is the mechanism by which the cockpit opens. With mine, you give the head a quarter twist and slide it out, and it contains an Eggman figure inside. Andrew, he uses the actual snapping mechanism of the very same Pokeball, so it's a little bit harder to get off since you gotta work it. Ay, ay, ay. Big action figures don't like to stand on beds. There we go. It's coming. There we go. So yes, you pop that off, and there's and Dr. Eggman can freely sit right inside there. I find that you can fit either Eggman, but the modern Eggman sits better in Andrew's robot, while either Eggman sits just as fine in my robot. You can get a classic Robotnik to go into Andrew's robot. It's just a lot easier to get a modern one, is all I'm trying to say. Okay, so yep. Let's move my robot out of the way so we can have a final comparison between Andrew's Death Egg robot and a few other toys that he oh, whatever. Alright, sorry about that little interruption. So as I was saying, some figures that you could compare the Death Egg robot to: the 10-inch Metal Sonic figure, the hold on, 10-inch Metal Sonic, just take a step back, the RBX DO5 Mega Robo, yes, and Missile Wrist, although Missile Wrist is the tiniest of all, only relatively speaking. So yes, this is the Sonic 2 accurate Death Egg robot, a collaborative effort between me and Andrew Strappers, and this is Toy Customizer Wakeangel2K1 signing off.